What it do, modified family? We're back out here at work. This is day 2 of pulling the engine out of my 97 EK hatch. This should not have been a day 2, but some of my tools had walked off, which typically means that I just left them in my garage because they made my tool bag too heavy. And how often are you doing a project and just need a random 32 millimeter socket? There's pretty much only one thing I could think of that's that size, and it's like the axle nut. So unless you're pulling axles off a Honda, you probably don't need this big heavy socket. But I got it from home, I got the jack, and so let's get back to what we were doing. You just gotta give me 5 on my black hand side and let's go. All right, eagle-eyed viewers, we are back, and you may notice that this is not the same engine. I did not do a motor swap that fast. This is my other car. This is the one that runs and drives. I'm gonna check the oil now that I'm here on a flat surface, and then we'll get over to today's work. This is where I left you guys. So, everything's disconnected. So today, let's try to get those two 19s off the bottom of that T-bracket. And I'm gonna first try to get these axle nuts off. And then I have a ball joint separator that I brought from home to hopefully separate the lower ball joints so the axles can actually come out. I'd love just to slide them out. I ordered new ones because both of the boots on both sides were leaking on the transmission side. So I figured, let's make this good. This is going to a good home, so I want to make sure everything is 100%. And then what else? T-bracket, axles. Oh, and exhaust. If I have the exhaust off, this thing will be just about ready to drop off. Only one thing that I know for a fact, I do not have the right size punch to take out is the roll pin. Is that the thing? You know, like it's the one that's super hard to get out of the shift linkage because I don't want to drop the shift linkage out of the car and leave it attached to the motor. So I'll let the shop mechanic take care of that. But I'm just trying to get this into a place where it's good to go. But man, I want to pull this out so bad. But let's see what we can get done. We have about an hour today. That was remarkably easy. I don't think these things were tight enough. Usually it's a bear to get these axle nuts off. I first had to find the right tool because I could not find my breaker bar. I think I also left that at home. And everything I buy, I want to say is like 5/8 drive, just like the normal size. And this was a 1/2 inch drive, like the size up. So I actually found a tool here at work. I was able to do it, and I had the handle off of my jack. So I used that for leverage, and I pressed on it lightly, and it came right off. So I got both the axle nuts off. So now I got these heavy duty jack stands on both sides. When I went under here, excuse me, the other day to drain the coolant and to drain the oil, I did not use jack stands. I just jacked up for a second, got my arm under there. If the car came down, the plastic bumper would just deform over my shoulder, but I would not have lost my life. I'm going all the way under here to pull the exhaust off as well as the T-bracket, so I want to be safe. So definitely jack stands. These are much heavier duty than the ones I have at home. These are for lifting work cars, not my little baby here. So this should be fine. And I'm gonna lift from these front toe mounts. Those are bolted in well, very strong, connect to the frame. I'm gonna lift from there, and then put under the jack stands on each side. And then we're going under. These jack stands are a lot higher than I thought they'd be. But still okay, I made it safely, but I had to jack this thing up as high as my poor little jack would take me to get it here. It looks like the jack stands are flat on the ground. I don't know if you ever jack something up, they start to lean one way or the other. They both look like they're pretty solid. I gave a little shake. Not that I want to fall from this height, but at the same time, I don't want to fall when I'm under there. Yeah, these are coming off. Oh yeah, wheels are coming off. And then that's my ball joint separator right there. So hopefully it works the way it's intended to. I think that this side is skinny enough to press it without damaging the ball joint and get it out safely. If not, we just whacking it with the hammer till it comes out. There is something really nice about taking a car that you put together or help put together because everything comes off pretty easy. Exhaust manifold came right off. None of the exhaust studs backed off, and I put the nuts back on there. Just set the exhaust over to the side so it's out of the way, it's safe. T-bracket bolts came out money. So easy, 19 extension. The oxygen sensor was a little bit in the way, but because I could get the bolt the rest of the way out by hand, it was no problem. So wheels came off. I'm just disassembling some of the front end stuff. This side's mostly done. Castle nut, cotter pin off the lower ball joint. That little arm that holds the strut, that's it's still in there currently, but the bolts are off. I tried to use my ball joint puller and it just does not work with the rack and pinion thing over here. Outer tie rod is in the way. If I try to come from this side, on this side the brake caliper's in the way and it's not worth it. I found this hammer. It is not my normal sledgehammer that I would use for something like this. I gave it a few whacks, like 10, just exhausting, totally unnecessary. So that's something the mechanic could pull out. And then I will take off the other side and that should round out to just about an hour's worth of work. About 40 minutes in right now. Coming to the bottom, everything looks good. One thing I noticed is on the exhaust handle, there is a bolt. I don't know if you can see this. It's a mad glare. I don't know if it's gonna focus. But there's a bolt, and you can hear it because it sits on this part of the exhaust. And I don't know if I can move them enough safely. There it is, okay. There's a bolt right here, and this bolt just shakes and rattles, and I don't know if it's connected to anything. And it's definitely not gonna come off this way. That end piece is way too big, but that rattles. That's one of the noises my car makes. So without this car would be practically silent. And coming down here, look at that, exhaust full. Doesn't look like it's breaking down. This is like a solid mesh that, you know, how it's supposed to look. It's not melted from running too rich. It's not burnt out from being too lean. And also, the exhaust is sitting on the ground. The reason the exhaust is sitting on the ground is because that one hanger, you can see, was not connected. So when this goes back together, I'll make sure that gets in that hanger, and then the exhaust won't rattle. There won't be a rattle from the AC, because I'm gonna figure out what to do with that bolt. Maybe we have to cut it off. I have to check the other side to make sure it's not meant to be on there, or see the best way of doing it. But things are going, so we're getting to a good place. I really want to tag in the mechanic and let him finish. Hopefully it speeds things up. All right, in conclusion, this is where I leave you. This motor is ready to drop out. We just need to remove the lower ball joints. And once the lower ball joints are off, so I didn't really show that. You know where it's at. To the bottom there, we can remove the lower ball joints and take off the shift linkage. And this thing will drop straight down or pull out the tops, whatever the shop mechanic wants, dealer's choice. Thank you for coming along. This is really pretty easy. I put in 2 hours the other day, just about an hour today. And my limitation was tools. If I had a good ball joint puller, so I didn't damage those lower ball joints. Because if I just wanted to get them out, I could just take a hammer and whack straight up. Can't say I've never done that. But then that ball joint is toast. But these ones are fairly new. Everything looks good under there. You could just see the spots. Let's drop on here real quick. You could just see the spots where that, there you go. See like grease? It's on both sides like that. It's like the only place it's really noticeably oily. The brake lines look good. Everything looks good. All the bushings look like they're fine. Everything over here. See, no grease shooting out of there. You know, no tears in the bellows on that stuff. All the things that I would look for to replace, you know, to keep grease from getting out or dirt from getting into places it shouldn't be. That would limit how this thing operates. But no, everything's looking pretty good. You know, we found that bolt on the, or that nut on the AC line that's just spinning. I feel like everything is connected. I feel like my friend wants to pull all this stuff out after I worked hard to get it all in. But that's dealer's choice on that once again, so I'm not super worried about it, but things are going along swimmingly. I hope to be back when this motor's going back in. So hopefully a lot will happen between now and then. All right, Modified Family, peace.